Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Rockin' Royal, rockin' Navy, know y'all with me, let's get it, baby, Rockin' Royal, rockin' Navy, know you with me, let's get it, baby. Boys just came back from their mission, we going crazy. Kalani, you got no problems, you could call him Jay-Z. Best fans up in the nation since the 1980s. Strength staff, keep us working, yeah, we never lazy. Touchdown, 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 Cougs is who they want now.
Welcome back to the Cougar Beat podcast here on KSL.com. I'm your host, Sean Walker, joined for another spring football edition of the show, and I'm here to talk wide receivers, and in particular one wide receiver who was a little bit of a surprise return to this BYU football roster as it heads into the second week of spring camp. He's been on the roster for over a year now. He joined the team for winter semester for winter conditioning and all that. He's on the team, healthy and making plays, even some one-handed grabs, if you will, that you may remember from last season. But Darius Lassiter, the rising redshirt senior out of Chandler, Arizona, by way of Butler Community College and Eastern Michigan, he had a little bit of a secret that he kept from his teammates while he unrolled. Darius, quite frankly, didn't know if his college football career was over after last year. In some ways, it technically could have been. It was his fifth season of football, counting the COVID-19 pandemic that granted everybody an extra season. And he played in 3 years, technically, at Butler Community College, played a year at Eastern Michigan, and then he played last year, obviously, at BYU. And so he needed to petition the NCAA to get a season back. And that's exactly what he did, and the Cougars submitted his appeal. He only played 1 year during his first year at Butler before he got injured, and he couldn't come back and play anymore. And so it felt, in some ways, like a little bit of a cut and dry situation. This is why appeals are granted, right? But you never really know until you know. And Darius didn't know until a couple of weeks into off-season workouts, into winter conditioning, when he found out the NCAA granted his appeal. Now he'll come back as a 6-year senior for this BYU team as it heads into its second year in the Big 12 Conference. But Darius's return is a really big deal for this wide receiver room, which returns virtually everybody from a year ago, including Darius Lassiter, Cody Epps, Chase Roberts. Keanu Hill is back, although he's moved to tight end. You remember the speedster, Parker Kingston. He's back. JoJo Phillips, who saw some flashes a year ago, played in 3 games while redshirting. In addition to a couple of younger guys that maybe we'll get to a little bit later here in the podcast. But Darius is the oldest guy, or one of the oldest guys in this room, certainly the most experienced college football player, and his return, I don't think, can be completely overlooked. This is a guy who, when he transferred to BYU, he did so after playing in 13 games for Eastern Michigan, catching 41 passes for 471 yards and 4 touchdowns, while leading the Eagles to a 9-4 season. He was a 1,000-yard receiver at Butler with 13 total touchdowns, first-team All-Conference and NCAA All-America honorable mention honors with the Bulldogs there. And then he gets to BYU, and you may remember a certain one-handed catch against Texas Tech, maybe another one-handed catch that he had here and there. Just supremely athletic, incredibly athletic. Missed a game with an injury, but finished the year with 40 catches for 471 yards and 4 touchdowns. Played in 10 games, started 8 for the Cougars. He was really, really good last year. Having him back is a massive boon for this BYU program. I mentioned Epps, I mentioned Roberts, I mentioned Kebo Hill, the tight end, Parker Kingston. Cody Hagan maybe rejoining this team. He'll be coming off of a mission this summer. We'll see where he kind of fits into that rotation. But you got other guys like Marcus McKenzie coming back off of a mission, who's now enrolled, and a bunch of young players that are also coming up through the pipeline. It's been a while since BYU's had 6 deep, technically, if you count Kilo. 5 deep otherwise, just straight up in the wide receiver room of guys who come into spring ball knowing the offense, knowing the system, knowing the playbook as well as they do. It may be, and assistant coach Fesi Sitake, wide receivers coach, admitted this to me, it may be the deepest returning wide receiver room that the Cougars have had in Fesi's 7 years coaching that position. Think about all the guys that he's coached, and that's quite the honor, I think. So Darius Lassiter's return to BYU is pretty cool, pretty massive, pretty significant for this BYU team as it tries to get back to bowl eligibility after falling just 1 game short a year ago and ending the season with just 1 win in their final 6 games. So he wants to show better. He's been really impressed by what BYU has done for him in just a year so far, and I know Darius Lassiter is going to be really motivated for his 6th and final season of college football. So I caught up with him after practice as the Cougars start to prepare for their 2nd week of spring football. And I frankly just asked him if it was ever a little bit concerning that maybe the NCAA wouldn't allow him that extra year of college football eligibility.
Yeah, that's something that's always sits in the back of your mind if you're going to have this opportunity to come back for one more. So the biggest part about me was trying to stay positive for the guys. So I was still going through like workouts and stuff around here. So I really didn't want to let the guys like see me like down or anything like that. So anytime I came here, I had a smile on my face. So they wouldn't think anything was wrong. And then if worst came to shove, I was going to let them know as a team and that I wasn't coming back. But so the nerves was sitting there. So once we finally got it back, it's like a big sign of relief. Just hit you, and just having this opportunity to be with the team was I was gonna miss the most. I knew I was gonna be fine regardless. I know what I can do as a football player, so I knew I was gonna be fine wherever I was gonna land. But just having this opportunity to come back with the team, the guys, they push you to be better each and every day. You don't really get too much opportunities. You get max 5 years in college with guys that you build friendships for a lifetime. And I know I had just got here, but it really feel like you guys I connected well with them.
And when you got here, you kind of exploded on the scene a little bit, really like burst on the scene. One of the top receivers in this wide receiver room. Most of those guys are back for 2024 now. How big is it? How good does it feel to be able to come in with a room that you largely, for the most part, already know? I mean, even guys like JoJo Phillips, who are making plays here in spring ball, you also knew him as he redshirted some last year and whatnot. Like, how good does it feel to be so familiar with this wide receiver room, I guess?
Yeah, last year was kind of a learning opportunity for me, transition from the MAC to the Big 12. It's a lot of players are the same, but it's just different terminology, and then the speed of the game's kind of speeded up. So just having that year just to learn and to see what I can do, what the competition I can go versus, and I feel like I can play with anybody. And then just here now, it's just building on that, building on all those plays that I made, continue to improve on that.
You've always got an NFL pedigree from your dad and then your brother's in the NFL right now. You got a brother going through the draft process right now. I think Quinton's. He entered, right?
Yeah, he entered.
He was done after last year at KU, right? And so having all of that experience, was there a little bit in the back of your mind? I mean, you touched on it, I guess, a little bit right there. Like you still got a whole bunch of football in front of you, but was there a little bit in the back of your mind, like, hey, if worst comes to worst, like I'll go to the draft, I'll go prove somebody, even if I got to make a practice squad, like I'm gonna go sort of find my way onto an NFL roster, I guess?
Yeah. I always didn't. I didn't want to make that post a little bit too early, saying I had to declare for the draft. So once I realized I didn't have to do that, it sat in the back of my mind. I was going to declare if I didn't, and I knew that I was going to go in there. I was going to work, and either way, a spot was going to find me. That's just the confidence I have in myself as a player to make plays, my work ethic.
Yeah, for sure. as you know what it takes, I mean, you obviously know what it takes to make it in the NFL through your dad, and you've kind of watched your brother and your second brother going through it right now. What are you hoping to work on during this last year of college football to make you that much more appealing and attractive to NFL scouts?
Just every down type of player. A lot of guys can make a couple plays every now and then, but I want to make a play, every snap, every time the ball snap. I want the ball coming to me and showing that, okay, this guy, he got a different type of motor. He can go out, he can do 50 plays in a row and not break a sweat. So my biggest thing is being consistent. Consistent is going to get you a lot of places. Anybody that's consistent is going to be able to last long in this game.
I realize that we as media watch about like 6% of practice. So a lot of things probably stand out to you guys, that stand out to us. But during the little bit that we've been able to watch, JoJo Phillips has been all over the place. Is he that way with you guys? Do you ever turn around and like look at him going like, okay, JoJo, like making moves, speed, hands, all that?
Yeah, JoJo's phenomenal talent. He's a young guy, so we didn't get to really see him that much last year. But we all knew what he can do as a player. It's just a year to get him a couple games under his belt, letting him move around, get the feel. Because it's a lot different than when you play high school ball. The competition's fierce. People play different techniques that you see in high school. In high school, you can just run by people. You can't just do that here. You got to actually like work your releases and run routes. So seeing JoJo grow from the first year to the second year, it's going to be huge. He's going to play a big part in this offense. He can run any route in the route tree. He can go down deep. So and then just having him build up the confidence. That's what's going to be most important for him.
He might be the best two guard in the wide receiver room as well. He was a pretty good basketball player in high school. Does he bring that up with you guys playing with Bronny James and stuff?
Nah, he don't really bring that up too much. But whenever we go play basketball, we know that you got to pick JoJo up with one of the first couple picks.
For sure. Last question, and I'll get you out of here on this, because just as a group, as a wide receiver group, there's so much coming back that we touched on. What are just kind of some overall goals? Like, how do you guys want to get better, I guess, as a wideout group? With it feels like there's so little kind of patch and fill that you guys can just sort of build on last year, I guess.
I think our biggest thing is staying within each other. We can't really listen to the outside noise. We just got to focus on coming in here each and every day, getting better, finding one thing that we want to do, looking at the film from the previous day, and coming out here the next day and wanting to be better at that. Say somebody drop a pass, you stay after, you catch 100 to 200 passes, or you don't run a route, you stay out here with the quarterbacks and you go through that route tree with the quarterback. So really just trying to stay within each other. That's the biggest thing.
Who's the ugliest dude in the wide receiver room, and why is it Cody Epps?
I think it's got to be Cody because, like, I think
was just about to come over here and say you the best one-hand pass catcher, but now worst one-hand pass catcher in the country.
Cody Epps, ladies and gentlemen, he's the best. Also, Darius Lassiter, he's also the best.
Thanks.
Shout out, Chase.
Let's get it, baby. Boys just came back from their mission. We going crazy. Kalani got no problems. You could call him Jay-Z. Best fans up in the nation since the 1980s. Strength staff keep us working. Yeah, we never lazy. Touchdown. Cougs is who they want now. Red is upstate and we don't do no uptown. Had them singing like a flute. We don't play around with no oots. Or them Aggies up in Ogden. They not rocking how we rocking. Rockin' Navy. Rockin' Royal. Rock your hands. Rockabye babies, rock the stands with the fans. If you with us, raise your hands. Rockabye baby, rockin' Navy. Shout out to my teams, wives and babies. Rockin' Royal, rockin' Navy. Know you with me. Let's get it, baby. Rockin' Royal, rockin' Navy.